Birzeit University near Ramallah holds open elections for the student council, which are traditionally seen as an indication for the general public stand. Fatah and Hamas are the primary parties represented on the council. This year, Hamas emerged the victor among sympathizers at this Palestinian university. Nishat Akdash, a communications professor at Birzeit, believes that due to years of corruption and a failure to overcome the Israeli occupation of the West Bank, the people have begun to look elsewhere.
Now, after 4 years, you can see how strong Hamas is. If you do a general elections, Hamas will get 90%.
Birzeit continually holds elections each year, and this is a major source of pride for the university. Meanwhile, for some students like Yahya Rabia, head of the Hamas delegation and now head of the student council as well, they believe a new approach is in order.
I want to ask you about your experience. I mean, you were sitting down next to pro-Hamas students. These are not fatigues-wearing militants. They're educated, college-going young men. What do they have to say about why they support Hamas and their thoughts, of course, on the Israeli narrative when it comes to Hamas and terrorism?
Well, first of all, I want to say that they could not have been more hospitable and more gracious and more professional in working with me. But in regards to how they see Hamas, they see it as the alternative. Because today they see the Palestinian Authority, in particular your boss, kind of as a corrupt Uncle Tom. He has appeased the oppressor for the sake of corruption. So they see something purity or a more pure alternative in Hamas. And in regards to the Israeli narrative...
Do they disregard it entirely? Do they see the Israeli point of view at all?
I don't think they respect it either way, because the Israeli opinion is the opinion of their enemy. Well, first of all, there's an expression for every 2 Jews there's 4 opinions. The same could be said for Palestinians, maybe even more so. But in regards to the two-state solution, let's play word association. When they hear diplomacy or they hear cooperation in regards to Israel, they think failure, they think corruption. They don't see it as a plausible alternative. They think that Israel is not a partner, and they think that the current leadership that's engaging in the peace process with Israel is only doing it for corrupt interests. It's one of the world's most efficient martial arts.
Krav Maga is an integrated system of self-defense, combatant fighting, third-party protection.
Now, some of his top students are disputing who is the real grandmaster of Krav Maga. Do we really need these titles to establish themselves above the instructor's role?
A grade is as important as the person who gave it. Your background and your titles, which is important, definitely.
Now we're going to do a demonstration on how to use Krav Maga if I'm the attacker. I'm a little terrified. Oh.
So are you hurt or not?
Well, she went easy on me, so I'm okay.
Okay,
but...
only your ego. When you didn't see the knife coming. If the knife is coming, then obviously it's something completely different. Moved out of this area, which is the dangerous area, and strike once or twice. Something like this will be enough.
Glenn Field, Strictly Security,
Stronger.
I-24 News.
Yeah, nice. Appreciate it.
Where there is no guidance, a nation falls. But in an abundance of counselors, there is safety. That's from the Bible. It's also the slogan of Israel's Mossad intelligence agency, appropriate since the agency is famed for its covert intelligence gathering and spying. Mossad agents obtain extensive amount of cultural insight and top secret information, sometimes by covertly living abroad and sometimes by infiltrating other nations under various aliases. In the past, agents spied in the usual ways, such as the quote-unquote cloak and dagger. But today, that's changing. It's the fault of AI-driven facial recognition technology and the fact that it's gradually becoming available on the civilian market. This complicates agents' abilities to keep their identities, something of which the Mossad is only too aware.
For normal people, this technology is good. It's certainly an experience. For people who don't want to be recognized so much, it's a challenge of another order.
In 2010, Mossad agents allegedly assassinated prominent Hamas member Mahmoud al-Mabhouh in a hotel in Dubai. The agents were captured on the hotel security cameras. Although they were able to flee, the concerns being raised are what if this technology prevented the agents' mission in the first place or exposed their identities? Agents operating abroad rely on anonymity. In the modern world, that appears to be a privilege not many of us have. Besides the obvious objective of remaining anonymous in the field, the technological leap of facial recognition has created a much bigger problem: crossing borders. A common tactic Mossad agents would use when crossing national boundaries is to use another person's passport and assume their identity. But today's more recent biometric passports have an embedded electronic microprocessor chip to authenticate the identity of the passport holder. This makes it harder for agents to slip into a country under a new alias. Axon Vision Analytics is one of several high-tech startups supplying smart surveillance, which in addition to facial recognition offers drone cameras and tracking capabilities.
If, for example, someone is caught on a specific time and then he returns, maybe to the same sensor, maybe to another sensor, and that's the exact problem of identifying and tracking him between different, maybe geographical areas.
Meanwhile, some of today's leading experts in security technology believe that regardless of civil liberty concerns, with the capabilities readily available, it's only a matter of time before they become the norm.
So once you incorporate face recognition, you know that's the guy, Bin Laden, okay? He's the guy. Authorize your machine. So imagine technology-wise, not rules and not, policy. Technology is here to allow you to have the face recognition capability, to understand that that's the enemy, to pop up, shoot, go back. It's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. It's behind the corner.
You fought in Bosnia. Describe for me the atmosphere among your brothers in arms, and what was the collective goal in the fighting?
In Bosnia, it was more clear-cut. There was a ethnic cleansing. There was, what the United Nations at the time described as genocide, and at the same time, so it was justified because we were wearing military uniforms, and the enemy was wearing military uniforms. We were not stationed in the cities. We were stationed in the mountains. There, we were not fighting as operatives. We were fighting truly. This debate with people when they were saying that, didn't you feel like a terrorist there? And I would say no.
In your opinion, where do you think Islam as a culture is going?
I would say there is definitely crisis within Islam. The problem is that the preaching in the Muslim world basically suffered, lots of crises because in Islam, and as you know, many of your viewers basically will recognize this, Islam actually is a guilt-based religion. I will give you empowerment because right now, here in prison, you're humiliated by them, you're under their boots. Tomorrow they will be under yours. I mean, I might have recruited you by now, man. So.
I almost gave him my email. I'm Dean. Thank you very much. Colin Price is a professor in environmentalism at Tel Aviv University, and he, like many others, believes that the effects of climate change are dangerously sneaking up on us.
This 1 degree we've seen in the last 100 years is like the fever.
The consensus among scientists today is that climate change is man-made through the accumulation of greenhouse gases. The more immediate effect from climate change is the warming of the Earth's temperature at a gradual pace.
If you wanna, have your right, you gotta hold gun and, fight for your right, and that is what is happening right now in Sudan.
Yuda is one of 650,000 refugees that have fled Darfur in addition to 2 million internally displaced. In hopes of stability and prosperity, he now resides in Israel's Tel Aviv.
If there is a war, it's still going on.
But government initiatives are not the only solution. Initiatives like Green in the City, located in Tel Aviv Center, has reconciled an approach that's both urban and agricultural.
When people that live in the city grow their own food, it means that food doesn't have to travel a lot.
Reconnaissance, the practice of observation of a region to locate an enemy or ascertain strategic features. It's a fundamental component to any military, especially Israel's.
We need much more eyes in the field for the commanders.
These soldiers are not on an actual mission. This is a drill, and these are not enlisted soldiers. They're reservists, former soldiers called back from their civilian lives for occasional military service.
Most of the soldiers here come from a background that brings them from the regular service as soldiers who served in special units like the paratroopers, the other infantry brigades actually.
And this drill is part of a course to transition reservist soldiers from other sectors of the military into reconnaissance operatives.
The most important skills that we can ask for are field skills, survival skills. We need them to understand how to live in the bushes, between the rocks, the boulders, and to understand how they can camouflage themselves, be out there without being noticed, but notice all the rest.
For the purposes of this drill, soldiers partake in both roles, that of the enemy and soldiers on a mission.
So actually we're all around, but you cannot see us.
Okay, that's not scary at all. And along with the drill, various terrain is simulated for what the soldiers may encounter. So what are we entering into right now?
That's a fake village, actually.
A fake village?
A fake village. You will not find any residents here. Just, you know, camouflaged soldiers as enemies.
Although not very big, the village comes with distinct Middle East characteristics. It even comes with a makeshift tunnel simulating something that was a key issue during 2014's Operation Protective Edge